Oh, that's hot.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Nothing's Wrong podcast. I'm your host Isabel.
And I am Catherine. Welcome back to another episode. Make sure you are hitting the like button. Make sure you're sharing this and you're involved in tonight's conversation. It's really good to see you again, Isabel. I'm happy that we're back on another Sunday.
Yep.
So thank you all for tuning in and showing some love. We'll wait until a few of you guys get here. How was your weekend? Did you do anything special?
Yeah, I had a really good weekend. We just went to Pacific Palisades. We went hiking up in there, which is really nice. I actually want to take you one day because it was a good hike. Like, I'm surprised we've never done it before. And you can see like even all the way to downtown LA, like from like that point of like Santa Monica, like being on that mountain, and then you can like see out to there, you can see out to even Long Beach, and it's like wow, you can see everything from
So
that angle.
where is that? I've always heard of the name, but like, excuse me.
Yeah, so it's like kind of between like Santa Monica and Malibu, I would say.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Yeah.
further than that, but it's pretty close.
No, it's right there. It's kind of just right there. And it was really great. We hung out there, and it's always busy. It's a Saturday, so everybody's outside over there. But yeah, it was great. How about yourself?
Well, it's the LA thing or California thing to do to go hiking. So I as well went hiking with Sinai, and we went.
Oh,
Yeah,
we all went hiking.
and PV as always. And had like a little picnic, and we went to a little place near our house too, and just like relaxed there. And literally after she was done eating, she knocked out. And then I was like, it's getting a little chilly. Let's get out of here. So we had a good little weekend, and I'm about to head out shortly. So my weekend is still going.
I know every time that we like are on this live, it's like one of us got to go. Last week I was obviously in Las Vegas, so I'm like, okay, I kind of got to get to the next place, and we ended up going to Delilah. So that was really cool. If you guys are ever in Las Vegas, check out Delilah. If you're ever in LA, check out Delilah. The food was great, the ambiance was great, and I know like I didn't know where I was going when I was talking to you guys last week, but yeah. Delilah was amazing.
Oh, that's good. And then also make sure you go and tune in and watch Isabel's vlogs. She dropped a few of them.
Yeah, kind of back to back.
Makeup one for Vegas, and then also your trip in Vegas entirely. So
yeah,
it's called, well, you could promote your own stuff.
Yeah, it's called Isabel LaPierre, and you can find me on YouTube. And yeah, I have a bunch of videos, a bunch of vlogs of traveling and some fashion stuff, some styling, just things that I'm into. So it's very, very nice if you guys go on YouTube to Isabel LaPierre, LAPIERRE, Isabel ISABEL, and subscribe and watch the videos. I would greatly appreciate that. But no, they're really cool. I mean, this last one, I mean, Vegas was like such a great time, and because we were betting and gambling and all that stuff, we had a really good time, and we were winning on slot machines. And yeah, it was like I found a new like for Vegas. Like I liked Vegas at one point, then I hated it, and then now I'm like back to liking it again. So
you're learning how to be in Vegas. Like the purpose of going to Vegas
is because I'm gambling and winning.
Isn't a good trait to have, but it is fun because you're doing little games and you're doing little. And the thing about it that
I'm a conservative gambler. I'm not gonna sit there and just keep running it up. Once I win, like, about 200, I walk away.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. Like, at least you know when it's enough is enough. All right, I won. I'm finished. Let's
Yeah.
be done with that. But it's great. It gives us a little bit about your personality on that channel. So it's like outside of here of our combativeness and just
Yeah.
talking, our stuff. But we get a piece of who you are on that trip.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I know you have a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
So,
I need to step it up like you are. So I definitely will.
mm,
Hi,
yeah.
Epiderm.
Hi, Bradam. Hello, beautiful ladies. How are you doing this evening? Doing great, doing wonderfully.
Yes.
Thank you for commenting.
Mhm.
Goku, La Fière, La Frère. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for tuning.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about because last week we were kind of talking about like what you're attracting and stuff like that. But we, like everybody else in the world, have watched Love is Blind. I think that is probably one of the most popular things people are actually watching right now. And
Mhm.
Kat got me, I mean, I watched the last season and then Kat got me to watch this season because I wasn't like totally sold. I loved the first season, but Kat was like, "Hey, like watch this," and then she didn't even see the first season,
I
and
didn't.
then she watched the second season, and then I got into it, and I started watching it, and the finale came up, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but it was just like some people made the right decision by not getting married. The whole premise of the show is, whether love is blind, if you can choose to marry someone without seeing them, and then once you see them, and then you're engaged, and you're like building on that relationship to the point where you're gonna get married. And some people decided to marry, some people decided no.
Mhm.
Um, and the people who did, I mean, honestly, in my honest opinion, I think nobody should have said yes. I think it was not a good match for anybody.
Mhm.
But the people who said yes, it was like you can already tell down the line there would be some type of resentment that would come up. There would, because it just didn't line up correctly.
Exactly.
Do you want to?
Yeah, totally. It's definitely a show to watch, even if you're not into like reality TV. I think it shows a different perspective on dating and being engaged, and also the step of being married. I think what these people are going to learn is that it's a different route when you're married to somebody. You have to definitely let go of certain things that you did in the past, so it could align as a married couple. um,
Right.
for instance, this is an example, and a lot of men, not a lot of men, but a lot of people who are dating people who are extroverts, who like to chat and talk to people, and also party, and maybe you might
Mhm.
introvert. Is that what it's called? Extrovert,
Introvert.
introvert. Um,
Extrovert is a person who's out
yeah,
there.
out
They're extra.
there
Introvert is someone
is
who's
pretty
in.
themselves. And I think those two kind of work out. Like you can be with someone who's different from you, obviously. But if it's way off, like you're a quiet person, you don't really like you're a homebody, you don't like to go out much, and then you're dealing with somebody who parties hard and they don't come home till like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you decide to marry that person, and once you were engaged there was no change in that sort, what makes you think during your marriage that they're going to stop that decision? I think the practice would be during your in your stage of being their fiance, to show them how much you would become a great husband. And that's what I felt from the show this new season. A lot of these men may not be like party animals, that was just an example, but they didn't change, not only the men or the woman didn't change certain things that will show like you're a husband, you're a wife. And it's a really interesting show, to be honest. And
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think
got me.
the thing of it is that you can be extrovert or introvert, but the main thing is like you don't have to be the same as your partner, but
Mhm.
your values have to be the same. And I think that is where the issue lies because you can deal with certain character characteristics and personalities of someone, not everybody's going to want to read a book. Some people may just want to listen to Audible. But
Right.
do you have the same values? Are you still into learning? That's the difference, right? It's like one person is like, hey, I actually like to take in information and learn. And the other person is like, I actually see no value in that. And that's not part of my life. Then maybe your values aren't the same. Maybe you don't see things the same. And I think, especially in the show, it was like a lot of these people's values didn't match up. And I think the whole idea would have worked better if they had more conversations about their values and what they wanted in a relationship. And I think, like I said, some people made the right decision for themselves in saying no, and some people just was like, yeah, out of, I don't know, feeling of obligation. Maybe they didn't want to be alone. Maybe they just wanted to say whatever, let's just try. But I think in a relationship, so you make sure you don't hold any resentments for people, because there's so many people who I meet, you meet, that is like, yeah, like, I've been divorced, or I've been divorced twice and stuff like that. And it's like, how did you not get it right two times? And it's like, because you weren't looking at the values, you weren't looking at the things that actually make a relationship last longer. Like, I can know if I'm gonna actually be friends with someone for a long time just by their value set. What do you value? What do you prioritize in life? How do you think about life?
Right.
That alone, knowing those things, how do you see certain situations? How would you navigate this type of situation? Then I can see if we can actually, like, work together, if we can build together, if we can have friendship, if we can have a romantic relationship, if we can be married. Because if that doesn't align, I know for me and my own personality, I can't even fake it. It's like, if certain things don't align, if we're not gonna, want the same things going forward, if we're not gonna run our household in a way that coincides with how I would want things ran, or you, like, I'm willing to compromise. So,
Right.
everybody, and that was another thing, nobody was really willing to compromise that much.
Mhm.
And it's like, but you're willing to compromise as long as your values are met, right? And it's just like, it doesn't matter how we get there, but we still got to get there.
Right. And I think that, like you said, that there wasn't any. I don't understand how they couldn't even have a conversation through the pod about what their values were. And I think certain couples did make that kind of conversation. Like, I
But
think
then people
I,
lie, right? People
I
can say something, but then it doesn't come out to be true. It's like, not only do they say it, you have to turn around and act that way, right?
so, for example, the Kyla and Shayna, I know you don't know names and stuff like that. I just watched it, so I can remember their name. It was the Caucasian woman with that guy who was a construction worker.
Yeah,
They didn't work out. So her thing was like they didn't have the same values because he wasn't religious. He was an atheist, and she was a Christian or a Catholic or something.
right. She
And
was super
her
into her religion.
to move forward because she was interested in the other guy anyways, but then she did like this guy, but because he didn't believe in God, it was like, oh, I can't do it. But then he's like, I can compromise that. Like, I can compromise that you believe in God, and I will just, like, try to keep my thoughts to myself, and I will allow you to, if we were to have children, I would allow you to embed that,
Raise them.
raise
So,
them the way that you want to, but eventually they will figure out what they want to do, just like I did, like he said.
right.
And so he was able to compromise, but for her, it was still a no because she felt like they would butt heads in regards to, like,
But
religious.
I think that's a lot with, like, religious people. Like, when I used to be religious, I used to be the same way, where I was like, someone's an atheist, I didn't even want to be their friend. Like, if I found out they didn't believe, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to stay
Right,
far away from you. And then getting out of that and realizing, people, I'm like, I've dated atheists. Like, I don't even,
yeah.
like, I don't really judge people for those things. It's just whatever your spiritual practice is that you feel comfortable with doing.
Mhm.
All power to you. Like, that's what you want to do. And that's great. I think that it's more of a personal thing than anything, but I can understand the mindset of someone. You even if you don't practice all the things, I think because of the way the religion is set up, you look at other people who, like, because the person could have said, "Hey, I'm Jewish," and they would have been like, "Okay, fine," or
Yeah,
they could have said, "I'm Muslim," okay, fine. But if to say something like atheist is like, oh my gosh, like
yeah.
that's super far. And in the reality of it, once you step back, it's like, oh, okay, whatever, because that's
Because at
not,
the end of the
that
day,
doesn't take away from the person.
exactly. That's exactly what his argument was. Like, I
Hmm.
still have the same feelings I have for you. I will give you the same energy that I gave you prior to us bringing this conversation. And I think like that's the thing that women start to lose. Not only women, but like anybody who is like iffy about certain things like that is like, you're lowering your chances of finding somebody just because they have different values, and
Yeah.
especially when it
But I
comes.
think if you're the type of person who really wants someone who's gonna pray with you and do all that stuff with you, and that's so important to you, then
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
You know? I
true.
think then that's fine. Then that's what you want. I mean, there's enough religious people out there for you to find someone who's gonna do that with you.
I think so too, but then I, but what if you fell in love with that person, but then you're thinking like, okay, well, I can't do it anymore because of that one thing. And it's just like, I know that's a big thing. So I remember when I was religious, I could understand how that feels, that they feel like you're literally with the devil. So I get it. I get
Yeah,
where
and
you
that would be a reason for them to hold a resentment
yeah,
towards you,
yeah.
even if to you and to me that it's not a big deal, but in that energy and that thought process, it is a big
It's
deal.
a big deal. I remember I literally wouldn't even want to be friends with people who were telling me that they were atheists or didn't believe that. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
can't talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I realized, like, these are actually still great people. They
Mhm.
just think differently. And I think that was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Jay says, "What up, ladies?" Hey Jay, haven't
Hi,
seen you in a
Jay.
while.
Nice
We
seeing
gotta catch up. Definitely want to hear about how you've been. And I don't think we've seen you since the new year. So let
you.
us know if you want to come up.
Yeah.
We always got a link for you.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, for sure. Like I could definitely understand that. And it's like if your values, if you have value
Mhm.
in your religion and stuff like that, I think that is something that is important for me. Like I said, it's just not something that, you know, you can do anything. It's for me because I know with my own spiritual practice, what I do is personal to me and it has nothing to do with anybody else.
Mhm.
So I don't care about what someone else does, is if they do it or if they don't do it, because it's actually a personal thing. So it's like if you personally decide, hey, I'm not religious, I don't want to follow Abrahamic religion, I don't want to do this, I don't believe in spirits, I don't believe in this, fine. I'm not going to try to change your mind about it.
But
I'm just,
day, like you said, it will cause conflict later on where you will regret your decision because of
if you yeah.
this is something that you don't want. Don't sit there and accept it because this is a great person, because at the end of the day,
Right.
this is the thing about people. They get so like involved in the decision that they make, and then they hate that person and they start arguing with that person, and it's continuously, and then later on they have to file for divorce because at the end of the day
Yep.
that value was so strong that it couldn't, it can last. So
Yep.
it's important for you to make decisions like, hey, you know what, I'm not going to, it was right for that woman to say, no, I can't do it with this guy, I'm gonna let him go. She didn't care about being continuing the show. She literally was like, I can't.
Yeah, I mean, she did the right thing. And I think, like you said, because it's like if you there's just certain thing, and it's protecting yourself. Like
Yeah,
I always knew because I had a really hard time making permanent decisions with other people. Like if it involves myself, I can make a permanent decision because it's me and I can live with the decisions that I make about myself. But
right.
once it entered a different person, I was totally like analyzing and going through things in my head like over and over to see, is this the right decision for me? And I most likely didn't make the decision. I mean,
Right.
the reason why I I mean, I had people wanting to marry me, to be engaged to me, but I knew down the line I would resent this situation. It's not going to work out for me. I know myself well enough that I may be saying yes because of what I maybe materially or something that I can gain from this situation, but I know I couldn't keep it up long enough where I would be happy. And so I turned it down. Even about having children, certain things is like this may seem like a good thing right now, or may be something that others may be like, why'd you turn that down? But I'm like, for me that wouldn't work because I know myself well enough, and I'm not going to make a permanent decision where I'm going to turn around and be resentful and be angry and not be happy with my life because of those decisions that you know that uh that I made. And I think that women and men, everybody should think like that for themselves. It's like if you want to do, like, life is not that long, life is only a couple of years. You're here for 80, 90, hopefully 100 years, but that's not that long. Think of how fast the year is going to go. I mean, look at we're about to be in year a month 3 in the new year, that we're going to be in springtime already, then that summer is going to come up. And so it's like the year is going to keep going flying by. So it's like, do you want to live with your decision? And I think people kind of like in the ways of marriage is like, well, you can always get a divorce, but you know how messy and expensive a divorce is? Do you know how much energy you have to put into that? And especially if the person is angry or something like that. And it's just like, or you could have just thought through the process a little more. Maybe you could have had more conversations about it. I mean, you can never um completely no, but like, weigh your odds a little better. Like I said, if you're on divorce number 2, maybe you're not making the right decisions to even have a marriage. Maybe you're not maybe it's time to read. I'm not saying don't get married again. I'm saying maybe the reasons why you got married before shouldn't be the reasons why you get married now.
Yeah,
Um
but like you're definitely right. For me, for an example, I like my younger years to my early 20s, I've made permanent decisions and regretted it, and was very upset. And as I'm getting older, and I had like one permanent decision come to me, and I literally had to really think about that, because I'm usually like easy to like manipulate and get me to be accepted into whatever the situation is. But I definitely took my time to make the decision that, like, no, this is not right for me. Like, I see this for my life, and I'm not going to accept just anything or anybody. As well, is like I had a lot of opportunities where I can, could have been married as well, had children, but I declined those offers, and they were great deals that somebody would be like, oh, girl, you stupid. What are you doing? Why didn't you take that deal? Like,
right.
no, I'm not stupid. I'm actually like, do you know how many bad deals I've made? Like, I'm not going to make another permanent decision that doesn't feel right to me. Just like it's like the show. Like, if I was on that show, I literally wouldn't chose any of them. I would have been seriously there for clout. And then after that, I would have literally just was like, nah, it's not even worth me embarrassing myself and having all my family come here for me to say no or for me to run away. Like, I wouldn't even have invited my family. I would have probably invited you,
Yeah.
some fake people in the background, you know,
Yeah.
just for clout. But yeah, like,
um
definitely.
Jay says I can hop on when you like. I put the link in the chat,
Oh,
Jay.
run,
So yeah,
run.
whenever you like, honey.
I gotta run, run, run.
Oh, you gotta go? Okay.
No, like he could hop on. Hop
All
on.
right. Here's Jay.
Yay, Jay.
Hey, hey, what's going
Hey.
on? What's going on, Isabel, Catherine? How y'all doing?
We
Good.
good. We good. How are you?
I am exhausted right now. Just a lot going on. Whew, yeah, it's been a
Wait,
lot
hold
going
on.
on.
Good. Let's just give a shout out to Tone Deaf. Hey, Tone Deaf. Thank you
Hi,
for
Tonya.
being here. Guys, make sure you check out TDR Network. That's where we're at, and a bunch of podcasts are here. And, Tone Deaf is definitely awesome. He's always here supporting us. But hey, Jay, sorry.
Hey, no worries. What's up, Tone Deaf? Yeah, just been a lot going
Mm.
on. Started a real estate investment company. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so that
congratulations.
thank you. So that's still in the I guess bottom ground, still, building that, and it's actually taking off, but still gotta work on some accounting things, and you know,
So
it'll be.
you switch from insurance, right? To
Well,
this?
I'm still gonna do that. The
Mhm.
real estate investment firm is just more. Once I get it running, it'll be on an automatic pilot. Um,
Right.
the goal is to have a hard physical property in another 2.5 years. Have you guys ever heard of, ladies? Have you ever heard of a real estate investment trust?
Not a trust, but I know about real estate investing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what a real estate investment trust, it kind of operates like a stock market, but more on like a sub public level and not a private level. So it kind of
Mm.
like sits in between there. So you can do apartment complexes, you can do warehouses, you can do shopping centers, you can even do rental homes. And you pool your money in with different investors, and they give you a dividend kickback, so to
Oh,
speak. So
No.
I'm operating and concentrating on that aspect to give me passive income, so to speak.
Right.
And in about another, like I said, 2.5 years, I'm going to make a loan on a multi-unit property and just start from there. And so I've done commercial real estate, property management, you know, back in my Winn-Dixie days when I used to live in Atlanta, and I've done that with my eyes closed. So
Yeah.
the key here is to get a property management company to uh, manage these properties that I'm going to be acquiring. But once that is up and running and where I need it to where it can go, then I can pretty much put that on automatic pilot. And the end goal is still to focus on my insurance company too. The insurance company just takes a little bit more nuts and cracks to put in place, and more
Yeah.
licensing and certification. And so that's going to be like a longer project, so to speak.
Nice.
everybody
Yeah.
give
That's
Jay a round of applause.
I
Like, this
know.
is what you call a hustler. And
Yeah. I got to get it done, ladies. Got to
that's
get it
what's
done.
up.
I'm
Congratulations.
definitely interested
Thank
in
you.
real estate
Yeah.
investing. Like I think I've I know I mean I work with real estate professionals in my career
Mhm.
now. And so I go to a lot of like networking events with real estate investors. I know a bunch that live out here but do like buy properties like in the middle of America and stuff like that and do a lot
Yeah.
of those type of things. And it's always interesting to me. I'm like, hmm, but
Oh
so
yeah.
maybe we should talk about it. I don't
Yeah, yeah.
know.
I'll send you some information on it. I used to do it back in. I used to do it a lot back on the property management side, and always
Mhm.
knew the aspect of it because
Yeah.
I was doing commercial real estate with a supermarket chain. And so I knew the developers, but I wasn't in a place to where I could rub elbows with them. And so
Right.
it was like a good old boy network, but I always told myself, hey, this is where the money is at, and this is where I need to get in.
Right.
And
Right.
so now I found the opportunity to get in. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and take that
You go get
opportunity.
in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you go get in and then let us know how the
How to
route.
get in so we can come in.
Because
Right,
I
right,
mean,
right.
I'm always interested in investing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
and yeah, so
And
that's great. I'm happy for you. Now we gonna get a little bit in your business, like we always
I
do.
knew it was coming.
So how is you and Miss Old Girl?
Oh, we're done. We're done. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now we
So,
needed the juice. What
yeah.
yeah,
happened?
long story short, the rubber hit the road, and she ended up
Okay,
she ended up taking a position in DC. And so, it was like, hey, I know where your heart was. So,
Mhm.
but hey, things happen for a reason. And so you kind
so
of.
she took a position in DC. Okay, let's back it up.
Right.
she took a position in DC. Were you guys like close to engagement? Like, what do you mean you knew where
No,
her heart was?
we weren't close to engagement, but we were talking about, hey, we're not getting any younger at the
Right.
same
Right.
time. Uh, and I guess I don't know. It was the whole thing of her just wanting to be independent and be her own woman. And I'm like, I'm gonna let you do what you got to do. I'm not gonna force. I'm not gonna force anything. I told you what I wanted, and if you don't want that, then you know, I can't keep you. I ain't into
Was
keeping
she
people that don't
married
want to be kept.
before?
She was married previously before.
And so
Um,
now is her time to like for herself. That's what she feels like.
Basically, yeah. So the real Rose stepped out. Let me just call her Rose. So the real Rose stepped out, and
Mm.
it was like, hey, and I think to strike to myself, I think that I've grown because in the past I probably would have been a little bitter, but at the same time I was like, well, hey, go ahead and do what you got to do. I'm disappointed, no doubt,
Yeah.
because it was a waste of time, and
No, no.
Never was.
It
sure, yeah, I agree with you. It's always a learning experience.
right.
It's time that you wish you would have put something in a different direction, so to speak. And so, but like you said, it's always a learning experience, and you just kind of take it on the chin and you move on.
And I
And
think
so,
like from learning from that is like you're going to know exactly what you want out of a relationship, and you know that, hey, I can't take a woman. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you look at a more independent woman a different kind of way, because like, do you want her to be fully independent where she will like get up and just go, and like you want a team player. I mean, I don't know what you want actually, but
right.
that kind
I
of,
mean,
I don't sometimes like sometimes when you go through that kind of like experience, it just makes you think like, okay, I enjoyed having a relationship with this woman, but I know now like I can't take somebody who's willing to up and go places, or I don't know. What do you think, Isabel?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, yeah, what you said. What you think,
No,
Jay?
what do you think, Jay? How do you
no,
feel?
I agree.
Yeah.
You agree?
I,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Because it's all about, eventually, I want someone to settle down with. I'm not gonna force it.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
at the same time, it is what it is. Ooh, did I lose y'all?
No, you're just
Nope.
frozen.
Yeah, I got this screen thing going on. I got too much stuff going
Yeah,
on my
flip
Oh,
phone.
and throw
yeah,
them.
Boom.
you're frozen. But I
But
agree exactly what Kat said. Like, I think that's like a big thing too, is like if we're talking about resentment, like maybe if the relationship, oh, he jumped off, but like just say it to you,
yeah,
the relationship did go on, then there would be resentment on both sides because she's probably too much of an independent type of woman who's going to like you said, that's willing to get up and go and not be a team player, doesn't really want a partner. If someone says that they're independent, you kind of, people who say out loud I'm independent, they are telling you I'm not a team player.
yeah,
I'm kind of for self, and and that doesn't make you selfish. That just shows that, if the opportunity comes better for me, I'm going to take it regardless of you and our relationship. Which, I mean, I'm going to say at a point in my life I was like that,
mhm,
but I changed because I realized what I want and that lifestyle doesn't align, and I had to choose, do you want independence or do you really want a partner? And I was like, I want a partner.
mhm.
And so that to me is important to realize.
And then also, I feel like I'm not like too much in his business where I could kind of remember, but my recollection is that he said that I think she has a child. I mean, well, a adult child or someone who's in college right now. So she's
Yeah.
like kind of like fresh out, like being a freshly new woman, well, I don't know, let's hear her. Does she have like a teenager who's in college or something like that?
But she had two. She has two that's in college.
Yeah.
So a
So she's
freshman
like
and a
fresh.
sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like no kids. Like she liked to
Yeah.
travel. I remember you said that. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So she's like on a new wave. Like she just turned into a newly, like, whatever her name is, this is who she is right now. She's independently her, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And good
So,
for her. You know, it's
Yeah.
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 like you said, you better off knowing now instead of staying in something and being resentful of each other.
That's what
And
we're
so, you know,
saying. Yeah.
yeah. So that's a growing point. And you know, it's like, hey, it is what it is, you know. But and you know, that in itself kind of like motivated me to start this real estate company up because I've always wanted to do it. And I said, well, if I'm not going to do it now, I'm never going to do it.
Right.
And I said, let me just jump into it. And you know, I've done a lot of stuff with my writing. It's, you know, nothing major. I do a vocal media thing where people go on to read my short stories. But you know,
Oh.
just a lot of stuff that I just said, okay, I'm just focused on me. And at the same time, I'm gonna still keep my options open.
Right.
You know, nothing
And like
serious.
Kat said, like, you know, just kind of be mindful. Is like, is this person, whoever is the next person, just like kind of be real with yourself. Like, is this person a team player? Do they want to be my partner? Or are they like kind of an independent player? They just want, you know, they're in this game with themselves. Or I mean, not
Right.
game, but like trying to do life with their just themselves. Because like I was saying before you hopped on, like I used to be like that person that would didn't care about like the person I was with, to the point where, you know, I moved across country and didn't tell the person I was dating until I got across country and was like, well, we got into a fight and, you know, I thought we broke up already, but, and something happened to him and he was in the hospital and he was like, hey, you know, I'm in the hospital. And I'm like, well, I don't even live there anymore. And it's like, whoa, like, how could you just like get up and move? But I was such in my independence, my own, like, I'm going to just live my life the way I want to live it. Like, I don't need to explain myself to nobody type of mentality. And now, I mean, it took me some time to get out of that. But now I'm like, I actually want a partner. I actually, you know, care about the like making sure that I keep my connections alive, and that, you know, I want someone to go through life with. I don't just want to be, oh, it's about me. I'm going to get up and go if I need to go. Like it's not no longer about only me. And I think that
Right.
is a good thing, because like I said, I was like, people tried to have me on their team and have me be a part of what they're doing, and I was just like, okay, I'm here for now until I don't like it and then I'm out. And it was like, and that's what I did. So I could definitely see like her mindset now, probably because she's probably already been on a team for so long. She was married, she had kids, and she had to like stay doing one thing. And now she's like, you know, I want to be free. But that's why he told you maybe you should go for, you know, maybe a younger woman. I don't know. Somebody
Yeah, I
who
know you ladies told me that several times.
They will
I
enjoy
don't
you.
know. Maybe, you know, not young, like a 30-year-old, like, you know,
Yeah, I
just
think 30 in their 30s is
in
good.
their 30s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it'll happen when it needs to happen.
But
I'm not
telling you, change
stressing
whatever, if you online date and change your little
my
your
little
age thing. Take it
Yeah.
to 45.
Because,
Put a little
right.
yeah. And then
You,
in those initial
you know,
conversations, like we were saying with values, it's kind of like you kind of have to see, like, hey, so you were married before? If they were married in the past, do you want to be married again? How did you feel about that relationship? Like, you kind of got to see like where a person's mind's at, is, especially if they've married and have kids already. Is like, do you want to go down that route again? Maybe taking a different route, but that
right,
same destination, or are you trying to be free and like thing? Because it's like, if that's not aligned with you, you
And
know.
right, right,
hey, don't tell your initial thoughts of what you want first. Let her kind of seek her out and see what she's looking for. Because sometimes like people will just give you what you want to hear and say, yeah, like I want the same thing. It's like,
Mhm.
don't even speak about what you want. Yeah, let them tell you what they want, and then you're like, okay, no, yes, you kind of
Mm.
see if that's something that you want. I think women should do the same thing, but because we know you, Jay, we're telling you to go do the same thing.
Yeah.
Do that first.
And don't compromise.
Yeah,
Don't
Right.
compromise.
even if they're
When
beautiful.
when the flag is thrown,
Yeah,
take that flag and be like, all right, well, that
because
doesn't really
you
align
don't
with
want to be
me.
married again. Do you want to be married multiple times and get a divorce? Like, no, right?
No, no, not
So,
at all.
because I believe, like, if this woman was like there, she didn't get the job, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna still date you. Like, you would have proposed to her and married her, and then later on, she would have, did what she's doing right now, and like say, hey, I picked up this other opportunity, and that would hurt you. So I think this
Oh
is
yeah.
a marriage. Kind of see it as
Oh,
that. Like, okay, so now this is how I move when I'm, choosing my next partner. Is like, even the person that I'm dating, even like, just don't waste
I'm just gonna freelance for a little bit.
it. Yeah.
Dallas is a city where you run into women day in, day out.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like you can run into women going to gas station here in
Right.
Dallas.
Right.
So I'm not worried about anything right
I
now.
think
I'm like I said,
you're worried. I think you're gonna be
I don't
good.
think it's nothing to be worried. I just think
yeah.
just a little more intentional of how you choose them and who gets your time, who gets your energy
Mhm.
is like if you're just a certain type of way, is like you may be beautiful, you may be great, but we could be friends, but I'm not gonna really try to do that because if I get too interested, you might, you know,
Because
you're
you know
not
how you
the
are, Jay.
one to
You write
stay.
love letters. Like, you're really involved. Like,
And
you're
romantic, yeah.
yeah, you're real romantic, and you can't get your heart broken. Like, so it's like sometimes you got to hold off that romanticness and just, and see if that person is worth all that effort.
Yeah.
Um,
And I put those talents to use. I put my poem in a writing contest, and so the
good.
result should be
Oh, wow.
back pretty soon. It's like a five
Oh
thousand dollar
wow.
prize.
Oh, you
So
got
Oh,
yeah,
see,
it's
you ain't waste no time. He's like, I'm gonna turn this
yeah,
into
it's
some
it's
money.
yeah, it's real cool. So I got to send y'all that information and check them out. So far I wrote like 20 different short stories
wow.
on
So
different topics.
I wanna a little bit get into the business a little bit. So when she was making the decision, did she like consult with you, or did she just make the decision on her own?
I think it was something that was brewing already, and she didn't really was forthcoming about it because like, how do you just make a decision and up and move to DC like that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's it's something
So
that was
if she
brewing.
already had this brewing, so she wasn't serious the whole time? I'm
Yeah, I
sorry
like
to
I
like
said,
reopen the
The
wound,
no,
but
world.
I'm
you good.
like,
You, good.
I'm
You know
like,
what? And that's another way I can tell that I've grown because I can talk about it. And it's
yeah,
like, at first I was like in my first marriage, I was like, I ain't want to talk to nobody about anything.
Mhm.
But now it's a process where, it's like, hey, it is what it is. I ain't got no ill will toward you. I wish you'd have been more forthcoming, but hey, you can't make people be the way you want them to be. You can only just live with what they do. Uh,
right.
'Cause when it's all said and done, she got to talk to God about that conversation, not me.
Yeah.
So,
I
you know,
yeah.
it
I
was it was
mean,
something that was going on in the back of her head, and it was her fail safe plan, or so to speak, or whatever plan it was. It was a plan of hers,
and
and it
so
didn't.
how did she tell you?
Well, you know, we were kind of going on the rocks of like, okay, so I was like, hey, so we're trying to get serious with this relationship. So, and here I am trying to get a house, trying to make plans on getting a house, trying to, I
That's
wasn't
weird.
really looking, but I was like, hey, let's go start looking at houses together. And so she saw my intent, and I guess she was like, oh, this dude's real serious about it. And I'm like, yeah, true. What makes you think I wasn't serious?
Mhm.
And so before Christmas, and I'm glad it came before Christmas because, hey, she didn't get the gift I thought that I had in mind for her. So it was like,
You
hey,
was gonna get her a ring? What you gonna get her?
No, I wasn't gonna get her a ring, but I was gonna get her. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna get her, but trust me, it was a lot of money. Uh, so I was like, hey, that's money back in my pocket.
Yeah.
But
So you were gonna get her a house with you before you were gonna marry her?
Oh no, that was the whole package deal. It was like, hey, let's get serious about this. We're getting younger. Here, I'm looking at these houses. Let's go ahead and make a final decision on one. And I was about to get pre-approved and everything. So, because
So I believe that there's always like signs and red flags. And now since you've had like time away from the situation, do you now see like maybe like you overlooked that she was like an independent type of woman and like the red flags now looking back? Do you see that?
Yeah, it was always sometimes it was always like the whole, well, I don't know if I could trust this process. And, it was always reflecting on what happened in our last relationship. And I'm like, hey, I'm not that cat, so that was a red flag in itself. So,
the comparing and that's kind of self-sabotaging. That ain't.
You can't see it when you're in it. I think you see it after, and because I remember you were okay with her being like an independent woman. You like that about her, and then now you're like, whoa, like the independence. I enjoy that she's a strong woman, that she believes in herself, but then she doesn't believe in us, so the there's no us. Or when she's talking, like when you speak, maybe you're like we, and she's like I, and like you can tell that's something that you can tell that somebody's not involved when they're just saying eyes. And when you're speaking, not only you, Jay, but like anybody in general, is like when you're having a conversation with that person, you bring up a we, you see the future, you bring in, oh, we could be doing this, we can be doing that, and they're like, oh, I'm going hiking tomorrow. Like, did you forget about me? Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
so
exactly. So, a lot of that came up, and it was just like, it was funny because it was like, it wasn't even a phone call or nothing. It was a text, email. It was an email. Oh, I got this position in DC. And I was like, you know what? I said, that's funny. I've said, you're not woman enough to call. You're not woman enough to say this to me face to face. I said, it's all good. I said, go ahead. Best of luck to you.
Wow.
So,
I know people emailing people now. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's.
She couldn't, it was too hard.
I feel like at that point, it's like, aren't you older than that? Like, I mean, I remember I would play those games, I was a kid, I was 22 or something like that. Like I was young. I wasn't gonna, I mean, I would rather you ghost me than email me some bullshit like that. Like, I don't know.
For me, I feel like the reason why she did that was because I feel like, Jay, you're a very nice guy. Like you really are. And it would really break your heart and her. She's not even thinking.
And it would hurt her to say it to you in the face.
Yeah, it would hurt her to explain it even more, like, because you probably want more answers. So why, like this, like, continue the conversation. So she felt like it was a job, and she sent you her resignation letter.
Yeah, basically. Basically. And like I said, it's all good,
Yeah, of course.
Of course it stung when it happened, and but you see things coming, and then you put the dots together, and you're like, oh, that's why this happened, that's why that happened. And, and it's like, okay, go ahead and do what you got to do. But and as big as Dallas is, it's better off that she did go to DC, because that way it won't make for awkward exchanges when we see each other in the future. So,
and like you said, you focus your energy now onto your business and building something else that you've wanted to do for a while, and putting your energy in that. And then you're only going to attract more of what you want now that, you can narrow, like, even like your state of thinking and how you look at things, it's like, oh, like, all right, when I do meet somebody, not that I'm looking, I'm just, out here, but I'm going to make sure that, I'm a priority in their lives. And I think that's just important. Like, we learn so much. And I think I always believe, like, after one person, I'm like, I'm just gonna get someone better. It's like it's always gonna be someone better after you. I'm not gonna
always
like
upgrade.
decline and get someone worse. I'm just gonna get
Hmm.
another better person. So yeah.
And,
Right.
and for Jay, you're making yourself that better person. More
Yeah.
than the person being a better person, you're making yourself a priority. You're focusing on your talent. You're focusing on the things that you love. And that is definitely how you're going to find the next love of your life, is by being involved in the things that you love personally to yourself. And there you go, bumping into somebody who, actually attracts the same things that you like. And you'll be minding your business. Like you said, you can find them at the gas station. You can find them anywhere. Like,
Right.
Dallas is pretty open, and there's a lot of women who, will be attracted to you just by, noticing the things that you do. And I'm sure you say sweet things to them. Sugar, sugar. I don't know.
No,
How you
you
doing,
know,
sweetheart?
I try to be genuine in everything I do, and I think that's what attracts me to most women, and what women are attracted to me by is, it's just like, hey, this cat, he's cool and natural, and he's just genuine, So,
Yeah.
So,
but
ladies, you will live in Dallas and you want to slide in his DM.
J-Dub.
I'm not gonna find you, Jay.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
it's cool. Cool.
Well,
But
I'm happy for you.
y'all were talking about an excellent topic, and so I didn't want to come in and ruin your topic that y'all was talking
No,
about.
go right into what we're talking about. So it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Talking about resentments and making the right decision for yourself and making sure the values align. You kind of just like, at the end of the day, you're all, even your situation, it came down to values, and she had different values, and it's unfortunate, but I think it's just so true. Like, it's better it now,
Mm-hmm.
before things, like you said, before Christmas happened, before I've invested too much money, before I've done all of
Right.
this. It's like, I didn't make the permanent decision that would have cost me so much more money to get out of.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
But we were talking about uh men who have been married and divorced 2 times, and it's like, what aren't they getting right? And it really comes down to what I've seen, what Kat's seen, is just not aligning the values, and kind of making decisions that are permanent without having the same values with the person that they're with, because you can have different personalities, you can have different characteristics and stuff, and people can get over that. But I believe that if the values aren't similar or the same, that's when the conflict comes out. And it's like, those are kind of like, big things that cause divorce and stuff.
Yeah, and as well, it's not necessarily always the values that's supposed to be in line. Of course, there's supposed to be some kind of remote idea, but I've heard one content creator, she put it so perfectly, where it was the level of respect for each other to meet that person where they are,
Mm-hmm.
and to
Right.
understand that there is a goal at the end process. And so, we can we can not see eye to eye on one issue, but if we have enough respect for each other to meet each
Right.
other at a compromising level, then we can work with that.
Mm-hmm.
And
No
so,
matter
Right.
what the compromise is,
right. And
because
so you get a lot of folk that's just jumping in relationships, and they don't respect each other.
Right.
Unfortunately. So, just if you
I
can
think
respect
that's
that person,
mhm.
yeah, if you can respect that person for where they're coming from. Because I could, I could go in a relationship with someone, and maybe she had a fear of being raped in a certain restaurant. Sort of,
Mhm.
just pulling an example out there. and she don't want to go to this restaurant again. Well, it could have been my favorite restaurant in the past, but I
Right.
got to have enough respect for her prior situation or her past situation and say, hey, well, we can't go there anymore.
Right.
I have a
No, I
scenario
totally agree.
if you would accept this person. I know that you're religious, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what if you're dealing with a woman who's not religious? Would you still, respect her values on that, or would you just there's no compromising in that?
Well, here's the thing, and I was in a religious background that was really like strenuous and hard Bible verse book verse and chapter,
Mm-hmm.
and I took a peel back on that. I still have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
At the same time, there has to be some kind of a bottom line together.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have, so if you don't have a relationship with God and you think that God doesn't exist, then that's the extreme. I can't deal with that.
Okay.
Now,
That's
if
what
you
I
have
was saying.
some,
That's what
yeah,
I was saying. That there was a
yeah,
woman, we were watching this show called Love is Blind, and she was the guy that she chose to be her fiance disclosed to her that he was an atheist, and she
mhm.
still accepted his engagement, but later on she was like, you know what, that really isn't going to work for me. And he's like, well, I would never like hinder you from like, if this is something that you want to teach to our children and stuff like that, if we were to be married, I wouldn't stop that, but I love you for who you are. And he just kept trying to tell her, like, I love you. Like, that's just my decision that I made. But she couldn't, that was something that she just couldn't do. So I just want to see, like, what would be your decision on that if, you were to meet somebody who was great, but then she was an atheist.
I mean, there would have to be some kind of relationship with God.
Hmm.
That's my bottom line. So
Okay.
you
There's no
that's
compromise.
a must. Yeah, there's no compromise on that. You have to have a relation. Now, whether the way you worship God, the way I worship God, okay, we can compromise on that. But if you don't believe in God, because me personally, I've known all the situations that God has got me through
Mm-hmm.
in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, there was nobody but God that got me through that situation. So if you were to tell me, oh, I don't believe in God, okay, well, I'm not gonna say I'm better than you. I'm just gonna say I just can't have a relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So certain
yeah,
things like that can't be compromised.
exactly.
Yeah.
Can.
But I think that I mean, yeah, I could totally
I
understand
felt the same way,
somebody
so
being
I,
that way.
I get it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm different now, but but I can understand where you're coming from on that. Those type of things is like, that's really a strong value that you can't break. Um,
But I
but
was gonna say, like,
uh-huh.
I also agree with what you said about, like, say, with the restaurant thing and stuff like that, because I mean, I know it's a little petty, but like, even if a person, like, when I was dating, like, I don't eat meat. So, like, if a person is like going out with me and they, like, especially if we first met or something like that, and they're trying to like somewhat oppress me, I would always think like it was always like a nice thing when I would see the person wouldn't like, oh, you don't eat meat, well, we don't have to order any meat, like they wouldn't even eat it that time, like they still wouldn't
Mhm.
change their whole thing, but they're like, oh, let's order like whatever you want, like I'll eat what you're
Mhm.
eating. And I
Mhm.
would always, and that just showed, because I would do that for someone, right? I wouldn't, like, I would, especially if I just met them and I'm trying to like get to know them, I'll try whatever you're doing and stuff like that. um and it doesn't hurt for someone not to, eat meat for one meal with someone who doesn't eat meat. Like, it's not that hard. But it, it always made me like kind of like look at the other people who were like, oh, well, I'm gonna eat this big old steak in your face and I don't care.
You'd
Even
be
if
like,
I
whatever.
don't care, I mean, I can watch somebody eat meat and not care, it's whatever they want to
Mhm.
eat. I just don't do it. But I always thought like, wow, who the people who didn't, like, they're compassionate. Like, they actually, that shows a good trait in you. and I think those little signs of what people are willing to do, you kind of see them early on. And it's like, if a person's willing to compromise, even the little things like that is like,
Hmm.
and that shows that when the big things come up, they're 100% going to do it, because they are willing to do things that are even the little things that, may not be something that is like, oh my gosh, but like a person like me, where, a person who's going to go out with me, they're going to compromise a lot, because I don't do a lot of like the normal things that people do. So it's like, oh, I actually don't do this, and oh, I don't eat that, and I don't do that, and then they still want to be around me, and they still want to like do things with me. I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
oh, okay, well, yeah.
Yeah. And it goes back to being a student of people who are around you and what they say. Okay, so if I say I profess that I'm a Christian, well, one
Mm-hmm.
of the most profound stories in the Bible is when Jesus cried for Lazarus before he raised him for the dead. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why he cries is because he had compassion. Now, did he know Lazarus personally at the time? No, but he had compassion for Lazarus folk.
Right.
And so it's the same thing. It's like friends. I have friends that were alcoholics in the past, and I have friends that are drinkers now. So I
Right.
know that when I'm around them that are alcoholics, I won't have a drink around them.
Right.
But the friends that still drink, I'll casually have drinks around them, and there's a balance.
Right.
So
Right.
it's all
I
about having
think,
compassion.
yeah, that's just
And respect, like you
yeah.
said. It's And to me, that's such a natural thing. Like I will do that without even thinking, but for some other
Mhm.
people, they don't, it's just like they're tone deaf to the
They
situation.
don't
It's
care.
like, oh, I
They
don't,
don't
and
care.
it's just like, wow,
Mhm.
you really aren't living like like to have respect for people. And yeah,
Right.
you're totally
Right.
right. It comes down to compassion and respect. Like, yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's how you deal with all of these situations where you respect that individual and like, but don't compromise for things that you don't want to compromise in. There's set values that you have, and that there's things that you can compromise with and have respect with somebody.
And even to that point, like my partner, who we're together now, he doesn't drink, and I don't drink now. Like, and I already knew, like, I never liked drinking, and it was never like my thing. I would always get sick, really bad sick. Like, my body would not hold alcohol long. I would be vomiting by the end of the night. And once like he was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm not drinking anymore." I was like, "Okay, well, I don't have to drink. Like, I'm always with you. I won't drink." And
Right.
it's great, because it's like, it's actually something I wanted to stop doing a long time ago anyways. And so I'm like, "Oh, well, it's kind of like it's out of respect, because even with him is like, he's like, well, I eat so much more different now that I'm with you, and I do all these other things now that I'm with you." And I'm like, yeah, me not drinking, even though it wasn't like I wasn't an alcoholic, I didn't need to ever drink, but it was like you said, it's kind of like, yeah, I just now understand. I see that even more now, is like, it comes down to like compassion, and your level of respect, and what you're willing to compromise on and like change about you, that isn't even really that important. Like, to me, like, drinking wasn't important to me, so I was like, I'll let it go. Like, you don't want to do it. I'm glad. I
Right.
don't like the way it tastes anyway. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
All right,
Yeah.
ladies
Cool.
and gentlemen, I have to skedaddle. It was really
Oh,
nice. I mean,
okay.
you and Jay can still stay on, but I
No,
do.
I,
I'm
I
gonna.
I
Yeah.
gotta I gotta turn in, unfortunately, and I'll send y'all that information.
Okay.
I'll send
Yes.
you, Isabel. I'll send you those information on those RETs, on those REITs, and I'll
And then
send you
your
guys
book
my
too,
vocal
if
media.
you want to.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
yeah.
much, Jay. Thank you for being
All
here
right.
with us as
Hey,
well.
it's good. It's good talking to y'all.
It's good talking to you
Yay.
too, and I wish you the best. And whatever you got going on, I know you got your business going on, and I know there's going to be a lovely woman that's going to be, the next thing that we talk about.
We shall see.
We will. Come back next
All
week.
Yes.
right. Yeah. Have a good night. Take
You too.
care.
Bye.
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 All right.
Yeah, great show, Kat. Thank you so much for being here again, you guys. Thank you so much for being with us. Make sure you like, share, And comment on the video. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're on the social medias, make sure you're following us. We would greatly appreciate it. And if you do want to donate to the channel to just help support us and continue to give us these great shows. Oh, and also if you have an idea for a show or a topic that you want us to talk about, make sure you hit us up in our email at nothingswrongpodcast@gmail.com. We would greatly appreciate that. I mean, we love getting your guys's
topics.
Yeah, we love getting your ideas. But if you do want to support us monetarily, with money, ting ting, you can hit up our Cash App at $ Nothing's Wrong Pod. You can see it going across the screen right now. So
And
thank you guys.
Media on Instagram, we are following people back, so hit us up.
Oh, Jay sent us the link. Thank you, Jay.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
gonna save that.
that too.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and always remember,
Nothing's
wrong.
See
See
you
you
next
next week.
time.
Oh, that's hot.